Good morning, everyone. Over here is Jacob speaking, and today we are starting first ever Planet Zoo series on the channel by building this beautiful entrance. Let us begin. I wanted to start the series on the channel for quite some time because I was just a little bit bored about this format where I was building smaller stuff in smaller areas, mostly because I didn't have so much time on my hands to finish something big, but finally I actually find a lot of time and started building another series for the channel, and this time it will be in Planet Zoo. And why in Planet Zoo? Because mostly in the past I was building Jurassic Revolution 2 and the Prehistoric Kingdom, speaking of that kind of building style. It's because Prehistoric Kingdom recently get a lot of love, and I decided to move forward to Planet Zoo because till this day, Planet Zoo had only one video, and it was the bear habitat inspired by the old bear habitat in Switzerland. And actually, that was the only thing which came out just actually quite some time after the Park Manager's Collection Pack, and it has this spectacle bear. So, just to bring some balance to the nature, we are starting the series in Planet Zoo. And actually, I would like to say what we are building right now, because first of all, the idea is that this will be the central point of the entrance. So you are coming from this classic European gate, just like you got, I think it was the Berlin Zoo, but I'm not sure right now. I think it was in the Berlin Zoo, something like that. And from the gate, you can actually see the main entrance, which is mostly inspired by the palace in Wilanów in Warsaw in Poland. And what's that palace? That palace was the residence of one of our Polish king, Jan III Sobieski. If you are Polish, for sure you should recognize that man, or if you are from abroad and you don't know the Polish history so well, you should recognize him from the Hussars assault during the fighting for Vienna, where the Ottoman Turks, during the time when they started conquering Europe, they decided to move for the Vienna, and the Polish Hussars went forward to help the Austrians defending their capital. So yeah, this man is actually really important for our history, actually the history of the entire Europe, but mostly for Polish one. And actually, I have to say that I just fell in love with his palette because it's beautiful, it's unique, and actually it is also classical one, but it's the classical way that I haven't seen before, and I think it's quite special. So I heavily inspired the main entrance to this place in Poland, which if I ever come to our capital, because Wilanów is actually one of the districts of Warsaw, for sure I will be visiting that beautiful palace. And yeah, actually for this zoo, because this zoo, I have to say that it will be somewhere around central Poland or somewhere in the Mazovian voivodeship, which is maybe not location, it's just the part of administration part of Poland when we have our capital. Actually, I don't know now if it is the biggest voivodeship in Poland, but you have to check that. Check everything anybody says in the internet. And yeah, I decided to put it there, so I was looking around what to build for the main entrance, the big thing that you can see when you are coming into the zoo. And the Wilanów Palace was just great because I remember it when I one time saw it when I was younger, much younger. I saw it in the photo in the history book, of course, by the topic of our king. And I just remember that palace, and I'm just now I came back to it right now, just got some pictures from the Wikipedia so I know what to build, and just fell in love with this palace. And actually I really liked one of the ideas that I implement into this, but it is really piece heavy. You should see it coming in the speed build, and it will be coming shortly, I think. Also, you can see that there are a lot of cuts, there are a lot of places when I just pause for a second. That's because I was looking at the reference on my phone, trying to copy it as well as I was possibly can, because I want to just nearly replicate it because that place is so good. I don't know. I'm so sorry, but I'm loving this place. I wanted to implement it over here, but the the thing that I was mentioning is not coming yet, so I would say the idea for this zoo for now, because that's a very early stage. We only have the main entrance. For sure, it is the zoo which is actually in the place where in the past there was the court of one of the Polish magnates. Actually, the magnat, you have to know that magnat is in Polish history is something that the highest nobility in Poland is probably not the king, but they were the richest and they were the most important in the country, and most of them are also well known around Polish history, but not what about now. Oh, that's the spot that I was talking about. I was looking for the something green to make something like this roof structure, and decided to go with these pipes, with these firefighters pipes. It turned out really well. I don't know, it's maybe stupid, but I like this idea. But coming back, it is the place where Magnat lives, and for many years this palace was turning hands from one another, from one Polish guy to another Polish guy, etc., etc. And finally, someone in the 19th century decided to build the zoo over here, and that will be the older part of the zoo, and will be more like, I don't know, I was saying about classic European, or maybe not strictly Polish animals that you can see in the European forest, and you will be able to see them over here. Of course, with this palace there will be also I also planning this small Japanese garden, which is also really important because I have never built anything which is actually connected to Japan or the Far East ever in Planet Zoo, so that also will be a fun challenge, I think. And this place will be housing the animals. Actually, I'm thinking about two species from that region that will be fitting really well in the small Japanese gardens and will be just gorgeous. And actually the last part, because this zoo is not meant to be so big, or if it turns out to be quite big at the end, I will be quite happy, because it will take quite some time actually. There will be this renovated area, or maybe the newly built area that was introduced to the zoo by the new owners from much later in the history, probably the 2010s maybe, and they built it for some animals, maybe not so big animals. There won't be any lions, maybe not elephants, or we will see if the changes made, because I was also thinking about interesting things for the zoo. But there will be this African area, which is actually quite modern because it was built recently, and I will try to do interesting transfer between this classic Planet Zoo look and also the modern part of this zoo. And actually I'm really looking forward for that series. Actually, that will be a really nice and fun challenge to build something new in Planet Zoo, because actually I finally have some motivation. I have to say, when I started YouTube, I have much more motivation to end some project. Of course, I was building a lot of stuff even before I started the channel, but still the motivation came back, which I have to say that, because actually that's important. And that will be the first ever zoo that I ever will create in Planet Zoo, and I'm quite sure it will be finished, because the idea is quite ambitious, but I still think that I will manage to do it. And speaking of being able to do it, you got this speed build video, which is actually maybe over a half of the recordings I have, and judging from how it is looking right now, I think that the palace will get, I don't know, maybe 12 hours of game time. If you are longer in Planet Zoo, it could be maybe even funny to you that it takes so much time, but I have to say that in this game I'm nearly new because I knew the basics. I played through the campaign, played some challenge mode, but still, if it comes to building such things, it's it's actually quite difficult because I had a lot of trouble with going around with some ideas for the wall decorations and also for the where are some useful pieces. So you can see a lot of cutout footage when I was just looking around, looking through the pieces and looking for that one that will be just perfect for one particular thing. You see over here that I'm using these little decorative dots to make those lines, so the arch over the door is actually looks like it's supported, and this looks like just like in the reference pictures that I got. So, but it turned out actually really well. Yeah, I'm really proud of the outcome. But I think that I will be building even quicker during the speed build for this project because it will also happen from the one style for Ninja. Of course, maybe the most of it will be the classical one, but still, I think that I already just like now I know where are some interesting things to put into the building, and so everything looks nice and clean. Yeah, wonderful. I really like that project. I really like that idea, and I'm so happy. I'm so glad that finally there will be something to plan do for this channel because I wanted to do, but the thing is that in my personal life I don't have so much time for Planet Zoo because if you want to build anything in Planet Zoo, you have to take some time, and this build actually taught me that patience is one of the most important things in Planet Zoo. So if you're starting this game, playing, just like me right now, I don't know, if you're a PC gamer, if you're a console gamer, it is the same for us all. Just be patient and just give some love to your building. That's actually also really important if you want to build something beautiful. Because just like I said, it took a lot of time because firstly, I didn't know where are some pieces, and the second thing is that it took a lot of patience for me, but I finally felt passionate about actually not so big projects because in the past you could also see from the other Planet Zoo YouTubers and the creators on the Reddit, etc. All of those fabulous, wonderful buildings that are just beautiful and outstanding. So you cannot copy it because it's so complicated, but it is also so beautiful. It won't be in this zoo actually. Unfortunately, I don't think so right now. But still, I think the channel will be going around. One day I will finally get to that point when I will be building such stuff, or maybe I would like to build such stuff. I will be trying, of course, and we will see in the future how it will turn out. And actually, what I also would like to say about that project, or maybe I told you that there will be 2 episodes. There's 2 episodes, and of course, there is this scrapyard, and I actually now remember what I wanted to say. In this scrapyard, actually, first of all, it actually doubles the amount of pieces that it was used for that build. And the palace itself, I have to check, but it could have nearly 8,000 pieces at that point because it still waits to be finished at the outside, and I'm also considering how to build it inside if my PC won't blow up, of course. But coming back to the topic, you could see that there will be this big scrapyard, and I will do anything to put it into the prefab. So if I would like to build something which will be considered with those pieces from the palace, I don't have to build it from the scratch, or I don't have to just strip them from the palace, clicking all of those of thousands of pieces because that's ridiculous. And actually there is this question for all of those people that waited for me this 15 minutes. Write me in the comments down below if you want it the actually, let's say, the IKEA version of this palace, the do-it-yourself version of this palace as a prefab on Steam Workshop. If you want, I will get some positive comments. Of course, I will do anything to put it into the Steam Workshop so we can also have the idea, maybe not the idea, the access of those pieces that I made to build this palace. And actually, I could also do the palace itself, but just like I said, it is maybe 8,000 pieces, so it will be also scrapped into few parts. So you can actually place it in your Planet Zoo save just next to each other, because if I remember that correctly, there will be nearly, maybe not nearly, what am I talking about? The limit for the prefab in Planet Zoo, it turned out to be 4,000 pieces, so yeah, I just overjumped it just a little bit maybe, but still, I think that it is worth just maybe even partitioning and saving it for later, or maybe for just, I don't know, something to remember about, or something to look back in the past and see how the building was like back in the day when I wasn't very familiar with all of that stuff in Planet Zoo, and I'm pretty sure that will be changed in the future when I finally learn how to do some stuff in this game. And speaking of learning some stuff for this game, I'm building in Planet Zoo, of course, also because I felt finally quite confident by building in this game, because I was building a lot of a prehistoric kingdom and I did a lot of hours in this game, a lot of actually interesting things I learned from that game, and actually it was educational for me, and I was even more ready to build in the Planet Zoo, because I think it could be much more complex than Prehistoric Kingdom, mostly because, in my opinion, because there are much more pieces. There is no comparison between the amounts of pieces, but Prehistoric Kingdom has this very big upper hand from the Planet Zoo because it has the resize tool, which Planet Zoo actually lacks, and actually that's one of the biggest pains I had during building this, because there are lots of really nice pieces, and I'm wondering, and I was dreaming of having this resize tool over here, which could be incredible and being awesome. I really like that feature in both Prehistoric Kingdom and Planet Coaster 2, that it was implemented, and I really hope that if one day we will get Planet Zoo 2, it will also get the resize tool, but it's not happening in the nearest time, because we know that another DLC is coming for this game, so the sequel to that game will appear actually really. We will have to wait just a very long time for the sequel of Planet Zoo, I think. Yeah, that's not bad. That gives me a lot of time to finish this project. So actually, I'm quite well with that status. Okay, and actually, right now I'm building the thing that I really have mixed feelings, which is the tower. You could see it's actually ended, but you could see that I was struggling with that roof, I was struggling with that walls, and also to fit it together so everything is nice and clean, and so the entire build is as close to reference picture as possible, because just like I said, maybe I don't remember right now, so sorry. I wanted that building over here because it's so beautiful. I'm so sorry, but I really like it. And you can also see that this entire build is also set about this Arctic wall pieces. Of course, it could be anything from the sets from the pieces, but they have to be the walls of just the pieces that stick to the grid. And I learned it from the other Planet Zoo YouTubers quite a long time ago. I don't remember right now. It possibly was Leaf when I was watching San Gabriel Zoo. Also, really interesting project. Really recommend checking that out. But Leaf is quite popular, so you have seen it probably already. But I have seen that Leaf was using this technique that actually putting thousands and thousands of decorations in one spot to make it look good, and then just add them to the wall piece, to the grid piece, and just copy them around, and it makes it everything so much easier, because I don't even imagine selecting all of those pieces that I made and then using this axis tool to move it around. Actually, it could be possible, but it would take a double amount of time, and it will be really frustrating, because sometimes this build was also running me crazy, which is another tip actually. If you're building something big, make some breaks. Actually, that's also one thing, because why there are two parts of this speed build, of building the main entrance. Firstly, because it's so big, and secondly, I needed some break, because I was building this every single free evening actually this week. This building is already a week in progress, and it's still not finished. And actually, at the end of the week, I had really low. Actually. How it was? I don't know how to say things. I'm so sorry. I'm improvising right now, and sometimes I forget what I wanted to say. Motivation. I was liking motivation because it took so long, and the results, there were a big, humongous results, but still they weren't as big as I imagined to be, because just like I said, I didn't understand back then that patience is actually a great thing to have when you're building something in Mazovian Zoo, and it's really is helpful when you're building something like that, and makes anything actually. The world is brighter, I have to say, because you know that you are building it, and you're building this big project, and you're looking down at it, and you see that it's happening still. It's just really slow, just like you are not using the lift, you are taking steps, and there's there are nearly 8,000 steps. Every single piece, or every single copy you did is a step, and you have to go through that. So I really recommend patience for that game, and if you're building something as big as this, especially when you are actually a new one for the Planet Zoo, just like me, or maybe you are just not so familiar with this game, or even if you're a professional, but you know that patience is really important. And that's actually the message for everyone that started Planet Zoo and started building anything and felt unsatisfied, feel unmotivated, looking down at what he did, and was like, Yeah, maybe it's not the thing that I wanted to have in that build. Just like that. So I was talking about 20 minutes straight. I hope you enjoyed the speed build, and stick around for the last part, where I will show you the status of the palace at this point right now. Just like I said, that's the state of the palace right now when I'm editing this video. I really hope you enjoyed the first episode of the series, and just like me, you're also hyped for the rest of the series. Let me know in the comments down below if you would like to have this palace as DIY version of the Steam Workshop, or the palace itself. I will do anything to make it happen. And also leave a like and subscribe to stay notified to the upcoming videos. And see you next time. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye.